You feeling the vibe?
Yes, now.
Marxman's gonna keep the vibe going. Hey.
Planet X. It's the only way to start your weekend. VIBE105.
And I didn't plan that, but that was actually a very, very, very good segue into our next topic. As promised, about a month ago, we talked about bringing back the Toronto Masqueraders Association to discuss the changes that were made to Toronto Carnival 2017, and we couldn't do it last week, but we are here this week. Good morning to you both. How you doing?
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Let me turn up your mic there. More mic. David, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, sir.
How are you doing?
I'm well, thanks, Mark.
Welcome back. No stranger to VIBE105 or the Planet X Wake Up Show. We've been happy to be a part of this movie from day one, which I believe was in 2012.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Off the top of my head, that was not bad. So we talked about the changes before Carnival. We talked about the earlier start time. We talked about the change route. We talked about the moving of the stage. We talked about fencing. We talked about a lot of different things. Whoever wants to go first, let me know first and foremost were those changes implemented and what you thought the results were from that.
Okay. With regards to the logistical planning of the carnival, I think it's safe to say that the logistics were received in a positive manner this year.
Okay.
Logistically, the first band left CNE grounds around 10 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
They reached the stage around 12 o'clock.
Okay.
The last band got on stage somewhere between 6:30 and 7:30. We're trying to figure out that last band scenario,
Okay.
but somewhere in that time frame. So between 10 and 7:30, everything was completed in terms of the competition of the bands and the parade of the bands.
Okay.
Logistically, in terms of the flow of the bands, Lakeshore Boulevard was a scene that hasn't been seen before in recent years. We had if not storm or free, then a significantly reduced storm or free experience on Lakeshore Boulevard.
It definitely wasn't storm or free.
So
I know there's a lot of pictures, and I haven't posted, and this is why I called you guys back here, and we're going to talk. I'm going to let you guys finish.
Yeah.
There's some things I need to show you, specifically around the time that you're talking about, because as Carnival Nations, we went back around.
there are two road experiences.
Yeah.
There was a first road experience in terms of the parade of the bands, and then there was a Blocko parade experience where stormers were expected to be on the road. So
Okay.
there are two images that appear over social media that need to be clearly explained. One is an experience of the parade of the bands when we left the grounds to parade and to compete for the Band of the Year title. The next experience and photos show after all of that where stormers were expected to be on the road. That was
Okay.
part of the plan.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
so-
I think it's no different this year than it was in former years, unfortunately, in that sense, that the bands that are positioned at the tail end of the parade, they tend to receive the most stormers, as we call them, persons in non-costumes who come into the band. And so, that usually starts happening in the early afternoon into the evening. And so if you were, say, band number 1 to 5, you probably didn't have as many stormers.
There were
if you
no
were
stormers. We were number 3.
Yeah,
There were no
yeah.
stormers in our band going down the road the first time.
Yeah, the Lakeshore. So the earlier start time, a bit of the rainy weather and stuff like that might have attributed to that as well. But yeah, the bands, the medium and small bands that follow the large bands, which is like number 5 to 11, then unfortunately they get the brunt of the storming effect, unfortunately. But I spoke with some of the band leaders from those bands, and they did sort of do a good job themselves within the bands to somewhat do like human chains and just keeping their band intact as much as they could. I think one of the bigger challenges was the ball pen, just getting back into the CNE grounds. I don't think for band number 1 to 4 it was as big of an issue, but then the stormers do start coming out onto the lakeshore maybe a little bit earlier than we would have liked, and that makes it a little bit harder for the bands to turn back into the CNE. So I think there were some delays and logistical challenges there, but I think the police actually did a really good job at securing that gate this year.
They did.
From what I saw, experienced myself, as well as talking to others, I think that there were a few incidents, but largely, we had asked and pleaded for their assistance and help. And so, shout out to TPS, Toronto Police Service, for really, helping this year to control that a little bit better than it was in the past.
For sure. How are you guys feeling about the movement? Because, it is one that I've supported from day one, and I still support in terms of education and respect the mask. How do you think that is finally getting through?
That's debatable.
It is.
We've done our part, is what I will say with respect to that. We've done what we can. We hope that now that we've reached 50, and something that needs to be clearly stated is that we didn't have the right for 50 years to have 50 years of Carnival. It is a privilege and an honor to have reached 50 years of our culture being celebrated in the country of Canada.
100%.
Now the question is, where do we go from here?
That is definitely the question.
Can we make another 50 years? And what will that 50 years look like? Will it be a definition of what our culture was made of, or will it be redefined to be something else? We've done our part in terms of educating the community. We hope that the other associations, being the FMC, the TMBA, we hope that prominent individuals like yourself and other promoters and DJs who are invested in the community will also push that in terms of instilling it in the children that will come and will eventually take this thing over. But it's debatable. I mean, it took fire this year, and people did catch on. It led to some benefits in terms of the road. Again, we did have a better experience on Lakeshore Boulevard. 75% of masqueraders who commented, did express a positive experience, something they've never seen. Those who said they weren't coming back next year. So that's a positive thing. Spectators got to see something on Lakeshore Boulevard. Right, that's a very big point, because this whole thing is based on 1 million people coming in and $500 million in revenue. That's generated because they see something other than denim and pom pom shorts and all that on the road. They see an art form. Yeah, they saw that this year.
100%.
So if we can maintain that, then it can grow. But it depends on the community. It depends on us, the community, to push that forward. And if we want it, then we'll push it.
The problem that I see, and these are some of the things that I'm seeing now and realizing, it's like we're talking about education is the key. Right? And education is important, but the way I'm kind of looking at it, and this is from a person who, again, went around that second time, and one of the issues with the police at the fence, I hate to say this, it happened behind my truck. So I saw it happen, the one that happened at around 7:30. We're going to talk about that. It wasn't in the news. If you saw it on Facebook, you saw it on Facebook, but I'm going to describe to you what happened and what I saw. It's like this. It's like within a city there's crime, and I'm not trying to associate crime and Caribana at all. What I'm saying is we could be ignorant and say we're just going to teach people not to kill and we're going to teach people not to be violent. But at the end of the day, you need security and you need police, because you can only educate so much. And the problem is the people that have traditionally and are still, in my opinion, destroying this parade, they don't listen to the show. No. They don't listen to Soca. They don't listen to Dr. J show. They don't follow you guys on social media. The people that we are reaching are people that know already. And it is good to instill in them, but the people that are truly destroying this don't listen to Soca 364 days of the year. They don't care about Carnival 364 days of the year. They come there and they do their thing and they storm the road. And then the people that follow the rules, that it's in them to respect the mask, they're behind the fence, and then they see 10 people go through and they're like, look at these fools, I'm not going to do that. And then, like when this just happened to me, like when you're in traffic and you see one man take that shoulder and you're like, look at this jerk. Like everybody's following the rules in this guy. And then you see a next car follow him. And then 10, 20 cars follow him. And you're like, I'm the only fool sitting here in traffic. I'm going on the shoulder too. And that's exactly what happens. People are like, why am I respecting the rules when there's literally 250,000 people on the lakeshore? And the people that would traditionally follow the rules and do respect the mask end up following them. And we just end up in a big mess.
I think that's, again, comes back to us as a community. Again, we celebrated 50 years, and over 50 years, and it's been stated in City Hall that it's never properly been defined what the carnival is, what it's supposed to look like. You can't expect people who've seen 20 years of Lakeshore Boulevard as a mess come down and expect not to participate in that manner. Generations have grown up and seen that. That's what they understand it to be. Who are the leaders of our community? Where is our cultural center?
Yeah.
right?
It doesn't exist.
The
This
magnificent
is-
pipe organ and,
Yeah.
and the Y2K pan bug and the Great Canadian Mountie, these 30-foot high creations of art. Where are they today?
No idea. In a warehouse somewhere.
Right? They're nowhere. They don't exist anywhere other than in pictures and people like myself calling them up. People might not even know what the Y2K pan bug was.
Yeah.
All right, the flight into the millennium, Susan Ishmael's portrayal. They've never seen these things.
Yeah.
They don't exist anymore. That has to do with us. We can't confidently sit here and say that after 50 years, we can sit in City Hall and the representatives of the city, the representatives of the police, still say that it's never properly been defined what it is we're trying to do on the road. Are we putting on a parade by the definition of the word parade? Are we putting on a presentation by the definition of the word presentation?
Mm-hmm.
Is it an art form? Is it a fete? Is it a blocko? It has not been clearly defined, and that has to do with us.
I agree to a degree. Anything that you listen there, whether it be a parade, a blocko, a fete, anything like that, my next step, again, this Respect the Mass and the education part has done great things, because we wouldn't have even had a good first round if this movement did not come about. Straight up. The all due respect to everybody in charge, they would have kept doing the same thing over and over again if there were not enough people standing up.
Yeah, there has been good partnership and camaraderie and lots of ideas across the bands, the FMC, TMA, to really put forth some effective change. But it's like, how do you sustain it? How do you keep that momentum? Education is one piece, but then there's
We need
also
security.
the enforcement. There's
We need
enforcement.
security.
Enforcement is true,
and we need the money needs to come from somewhere. Big up to Peeks, who sponsored the carnival.
Correct.
Anybody that could be the security sponsor, and it will take a lot of money, at least for a couple of years. But
sure.
it is needed, and we need to reach out to political figures. We need to reach out to the city. We need to reach out to everybody, because this carnival does make this city a boatload of money on the weekend. And people will argue, oh, well, that money will come. Anyways, no, it will not.
No,
you do not see the amount of people that I see that weekend. Tell me what other weekend in Toronto you could have a fete from Wednesday to Monday with 10,000 people at each one of them. This carnival brings in millions and millions and millions of tax dollars.
$500 million.
So
with a B.
my next solution is we need security. What we love and what we have created that is so dear to so many people is being destroyed. And again, we made some steps this year, but we need security, and we need a lot of it. And I'm not just talking about police. Okay, we need some police, but we also need every single licensed security guard that is not working that day to be hired and paid. The same way you cannot find a DJ that is available in the city on that day. The same way you can't find an MC, a promoter. We are all busy. If you are a security guard and security is needed for this parade or carnival or whatever you want to call it, they need to be working. And the budget needs to be put aside for that, because it is being destroyed. And in my opinion, I'm sorry, I'm starting to sound a little angry, but it's like,
No,
I've seen this, and the passion that we have for all the passion that all of us have for this is so intense. And to see it destroyed year after year, it breaks my heart.
Yeah. You need the level of security that you would have at any major event in the city, whether it be, something occurring at the Rogers Center or ACC. You need vigilant security to actually do what they're supposed to be doing on that date. You still do see, gaps in the fences, the barricades unmanned, and, the security not enforcing it. You do still see that. I personally saw Bryce, from our band, who had to, explain to some stormers why they needed to get off of the back of the truck.
Yeah. Which is common sense. Forget parade, forget why are you holding on to the back of a truck. That's not a good idea anyway.
It's not good judgment. And I mean, if you're a stormer, that's one thing. But it's those type of things that, take this to an unsafe level, right? And they need to, we need security to manage that better as well.
A lot. And the ones that are there, no disrespect to you, because it's like you're one person and there's 10,000 people trying to get through that gap. So I don't expect you to put your life on the line to save a parade.
Right.
There just needs to be more of you. There needs to be more of you and more police, and the budget needs to come from somewhere. I don't have the answers to where that's going to come from, but it needs to come from somewhere.
I think they need to take the improvements that were made this year and keep fine-tuning that model and figure out where, the gaps and stuff occurred this year. And, if there are things that are not critical to the parade, okay, maybe we can do without those things, and where to invest the resources most wisely. I think that they still need to take a hard look at that in terms of the
100%.
FMC and Peaks for sure.
But again, some of the changes that were made this year definitely it helped and it worked. We said we were going to start early. We didn't start as early as we said we were going to, but that's Caribbean people for you. But we still started much earlier than normal, and it definitely
Earlier than
helped.
I gave them.
Yeah.
I didn't. Yeah.
Yeah, because you
I didn't
always
give them 10 o'clock. I honestly, again, I know us.
we've heard the early thing before, and then it's turned into 12 o'clock, but that didn't happen this time.
Yeah, 10 o'clock is not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's
So
about half an hour off the mark. We
Yeah.
said by 9:30 the mass bands would move, so by 10 o'clock that's not bad in terms of the strides from previous years.
I don't know. I'm very proud. I've always been proud to say that, Toronto Carnival attracts over 1 million people. I believe the last estimates, they put it at 1.3 million people, but I can do without maybe 500,000 of them if they're the ones that are destroying. I'll be happy to say, yeah, we had, 750,000. The road was clear. It was a parade. It was a carnival. Everybody got to see what they came to see, and everybody came to play mass the way they came to play mass. But we need to do something, and it needs to be done like next year. This was a great start, but we need to add the security element to that.
Yeah. I mean, we did get all the bands out onto the lakeshore.
Yes.
All of them made it to the stage.
Tremendous feat.
That is a...
And that lakeshore experience has to be, highlighted again. That first lap, even that last band, looking at videos and footage of it, there is a significantly less number of people within the band.
On the right
which
track.
is extremely, extremely important from a masqueraders, perspective and a spectator perspective. Again, seeing pictures of, the band of the year along Lakeshore Boulevard is incredible.
It is.
It's incredible. We
To
haven't
just see
seen
mass.
that in years.
To just see mass.
But again, as a community, we need to figure out what it is we want from this carnival. What do we want it to look like?
100%.
You and I might want something that others don't. And trust me, having read through the comments and every single comment that has been posted thus far,
About
we've
Carnival.
gone
Yeah.
through. Even from a masquerader perspective, it's not clear what people want from this carnival.
Yeah, some
Right,
masqueraders, are not comfortable or happy that, the judging was placed at the end. But unfortunately, it's a necessary. It's necessary given the space,
It is.
given the logistics, given the number of people and resources and time of day. Like, we can't go backwards to what it was in the past where, the stage is the first thing that you see in the morning. It
The
just
necessary
creates,
evil.
It creates havoc, right?
Yeah.
So this was a welcome change. And I mean, there were some, I'd say, logistical challenges with the stage and just getting everybody accustomed to what they were doing that day and having everybody aware. But I think if they try the same recipe next year, at least this was a good test year they can perfect it next year.
For sure. I think, like you said, the same recipe, exactly what we did, and then we need to add the other elements to try to make it that much better. Because it was great, but it wasn't perfect. And I don't think anybody expects it to be perfect on the first year of change.
Correct, yeah.
Change
is hard.
Yeah. I won't even talk about that fence thing. I don't think I want to. The moral of that story basically is that we need more security and we need more police.
Yeah.
So thank you guys very much. Anything else you guys want to talk about? Because this is a very important thing. Where I know obviously we have next carnival, but what should we be doing in the meantime between now and then?
Well, typically there is a debrief meeting that happens in the fall with most of the stakeholder groups, and then it sort of pauses a little bit. So it is hard to keep people engaged in the wintertime. Nobody's really thinking about carnival then. So we usually kick things back up in the spring. So between now and then, we'll have to do our planning in terms of what's the TMA going to be doing next year and how to work with all the stakeholders and staying in tune with the band leaders and whatnot to figure out what's next.
Perfect. Thank you guys very, very much. You guys are always welcome here. Whether it's in the winter months or not, you can always come through and talk. This is something that's important to me. It's important to hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people in this city. And thank you and everybody else involved in the organization that has really, this really started as somebody complaining. And then, when people
Shout out to
complain,
Janelle.
yes, Janelle, this is who I'm talking about, J Bell, that I pick up every morning. But when you complain and somebody says, well, do something about it, well, she did something about it. And not just you guys have literally become a part of the planning process. And that is phenomenal. And I congratulate you on a job well done. So far, you've done a lot in a very short period of time. I know 5 years may seem like maybe a lot of time to other people, but 5 years to change what has been damaged very badly over a long period of time is a phenomenal feat. So congratulations.
Thank
and
you for your support. We appreciate it.
Finally, things came to fruition quite a bit this year. This is the year that we really did see the change going in the right direction. So congratulations, and I'm looking forward to always supporting you guys and having you guys here. And let's keep spreading the word and maybe start tweeting and Instagramming Norm Kelly and everybody else.
For sure.
We need the security next year. We need the security. I know the security men them out there want the money. Security women out there want the money.
For sure.
So let's get that money and let's get that extra security and now take it from 60, 70%. Let's take next year to at least 90.
Yeah.
And maybe someday very soon we can get to that 100 mark, because
sure.
it's something that that takes a lot of work and there's a lot of passion, as you just saw me almost flip out on the radio over.
Yeah, and I mean, if there's anybody out there that is passionate about it and has ideas and wants to help, we want to hear from you. So definitely reach out to us. And it is a lot of work, and I mean, we are not paid for this.
Yes, we're not.
We do it because we love it, and we want to see that change. So
and again, ultimately, it falls on us, the community, to save our own culture.
That is a very big part of it. That also is a very, very big part of it. Because like you said, if we cannot present to the city exactly what we are doing, then
why would they give us more security?
Not even give you more security, but how would they even know what do you need? You don't even know what you have, let alone what you need. So that is something that we definitely need to get together as well. Thank you guys very much. You can follow them on all social media at TO Mass Players. That's on all social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of those things. So make sure you follow them. I'll play one more tune. Thank you guys very much for coming through. And we're going to go to commercial break, come back with Rockers Island.